Hi guys, welcome to a new episode. We're going to start Unit 15, Lessons 1 and 2. This is Ms. Sara Basyuni. I'll be with you today. I hope you enjoy the session. Now we're going to be working and talking about technology. So I want you guys to think about how much technology do you use per day and how much you feel the need to use it. Now we're going to be moving on and looking at the objectives for the day. We're going to read a text about technology and we're going to answer questions. Let's look at the first part. I want you guys to think about smartphones. What can you do on a smartphone as well as talk to people? So we usually use smartphones to make calls, but nowadays we use smartphones for so many different reasons. So I just want you to close your eyes and visualize your usage for technology. So if I were to speak about myself, I would say that I use it to post pictures, to share ideas with friends, to share things that are done on a daily basis. I use it to look words up if I need to. I can also say that I use my smartphone to video call people who are in another country or who are far away. So we use it for communication, we use it to search things, we use it for entertainment, such as watching videos, watching movies. So I want you guys to connect this to your life. How do you use smartphones other than to make calls? I'm sure there's so many reasons we use technology. Now we're gonna move on to our text. You're going to be reading a newspaper article and you're going to be answering exercise 1. So this is a newspaper article about the latest technology. Egypt was the first Arab country to use the internet and now has nearly 50 million internet users. However, technology is changing all the time, so it is important to learn about the latest developments. Many jobs now require you to know how to use social media. Some companies now use social media to advertise jobs and to arrange interviews. In fact, if a person didn't know how to use social media, it might be more difficult for them to find work. How we send messages is also changing. In the past, you could only send emails using a computer. Now you can send texts or emails on a mobile phone or a tablet. Social networking sites allow you to send messages to many people at the same time. This is very useful if you want to send messages to a group of people, for example, to your friends in a sports team or a book club. The way we use our mobile phones is also changing. We can use them to transfer money to or from a bank or even to pay for things in shops. If someone wanted to have the latest technology, they could buy a smartphone. The latest technology can help you to do many things. You can find out about it online or in some magazines. Now, our new words for the day are developments, require, social media, advertise, arrange, and transfer. Guys, you can always reread the sentences to identify word meaning. You can look at context clues or hints that help you guess the meanings of words if you're unsure of them. Always be confident and always do your best. Now we're going to move on. We're going to exercise 3. Which of the words in red in the text mean the following? So number 1 is done for us. The process of becoming bigger or better, etc., is developments. So when you develop or when you have a development, that means you are improving, you're getting better. They are achievements or things we accomplish. Let's look at number 2. Tell people about something in newspapers, on TV, etc. So if I'm going to tell someone about a product that I am selling, I have to go and advertise. So number 2 is advertise. Now let's look at question 3. Make plans for something to happen. So if I'm going to make plans for something to happen, I am going to arrange for something to happen. So when you have a plan in order to achieve something, you arrange for it. Number 4, need or ask you to do something. If I'm going to need or ask someone to do something, I will definitely require them to do it. So Requiring is actually needing or asking someone to do something. Number 5, websites used by people to communicate. Websites used by people to communicate. In that case, this is called social media. We all have accounts on social media nowadays, and we use them regularly. So it is very common for us to use websites to communicate, which are called social media websites. Now, number 6, move someone or something from one place to another. If you move someone or something from one place to another, you will transfer. So transfer means to move. Now let's go to question 4, our true or false section. Now this is also based on the text. Number 1 is already done for you, so let's read the model. Egypt used the internet before any other country in the world. This is false. However, it was the first Arab country. Let's look at number 2. You can find some jobs on the internet. This is definitely true. You can look up jobs for many different categories and many different fields. It's very common now. Number 3, you need a computer to send an email. Do you only need a computer to send an email? This is definitely false. You can use your smartphone or even your Android. Okay, let's go to question 4. Some people can buy things using their mobile phones. I want you guys to think about the usage of mobile phones and how it changed. This is definitely true. We can buy things, we can even transfer money using our mobile phones. Now, wrap up for the lesson. Guys, today we were able to read a text about the latest technology, and we were also able to answer questions and learn new vocabulary words. Guys, please always revise everything we have taken so far and make sure you use your words constantly. If you want to remember your vocabulary words, you must use them regularly. Do not memorize them, use them. Thank you. Now we're going to move on to lesson 2. Still, we're doing the same topic, which is technology. Now, our learning objective for the day is we're going to use the second conditional with would, might, or could. And we're going to talk about possibility and impossibility. Now, guys, let's look at the grammar box before we start anything, because it is really essential. Now, let's look at the first 2 examples in red. If I were taller, I'd be good at basketball. So I am a person who's probably not very tall. So I am wishing for something that is probably impossible and it will never happen. So I'll never be taller because I've already grown. So we use this example to show something that is probably impossible to happen and might not happen. So I could say, if I were taller, I'd be good at basketball. Or I can say, if I went to England, I would visit London. That means most probably I won't be able to go to England. Now, let's look at the third example in red. If you learned Japanese, you might get a job in Tokyo. In brackets, I'm not sure. So if I say something, but I'm not sure if it's going to happen, I will use if. And if with might. So we're going to use if and might. If you learn Japanese, you might get a job in Tokyo. That means it's a possibility, but I'm not sure if it's going to happen or not. Let's go on to the next example. If we went to the beach, we could go swimming. So we can use could instead of would. Could actually means would be able to. So there's a bigger possibility for it to happen. If I use could, there's a bigger possibility for us to go swimming or go to the beach. So if your parents use might, there's a possibility that you would not do something. But if your parents use could, we could, then you should have hope that you may be able to do that activity. Now, in the negative, might not shows possibility. So if I say might not, there's a possibility. Sometimes it's going to happen, sometimes it's not going to happen. Let's look at the example to understand better. If you went to the museum now, it might not be very busy. So there's a possibility. Could be yes, could be no. If you went to the museum now, it might not be very busy. If you visited the place, you couldn't go in the gardens because they're closed. That means that there's no way for you to go to the gardens. If I use could not, but if I use might not, there's a possibility. If I use could not, there's an inability. You won't be able to do it. Okay, now I want you guys to look at exercise 1. We are expected to underline would or might or could, if, and the two verbs in each. So the first one is done for us. We're going to underline if, and then we're going to underline didn't know how to use social media, and we can also underline might be. Now let's look at number 2. If somebody wanted to have the latest technology, they could buy a smartphone. So here we are expected to underline if and wanted and could buy. So we're going to underline if and wanted and could buy. Let's look at number 2. Number 2 says, if you had a smartphone, it would be easy to transfer money. If you had a smartphone, it would be easy to transfer money. So if we look at number 3, we're going to underline if, underline had, and underline would be. Okay, thank you guys. You did a great job. I want you to make sure you write your answers in your notebooks, and then we're going to check them together. Now we're going to go to exercise 2. Complete these sentences with the correct form of the verb in brackets to make second conditionals. So we're going to use second conditionals in this section. Number 1 is done for us. We could go shopping if we had enough time. So this means that there's a probability. If we use could, there's a probability. Let's look at number 2. If we all blank each other, the world blank a better place. So we might say, if we all loved each other, the world could be a better place. I'll say it one more time. If we all loved each other, the world could be a better place to live in. Let's look at number 3. If I blank, very ill, I blank to the doctor. So instead of using blank, we're going to use was. If I was very ill, I would go to the doctor. So there's a probability there. Number 4, if you not know how to speak English, it'd be difficult for you to travel to London. So I might say, if you didn't know how to speak English, it would or it might be difficult for you to travel to London. So this is about something that could hardly happen, but there's a probability. Number 5, his parents blank him if he blank them about the problem. So here we're going to use help and tell. His parents would or could help him if he told them about the problem. So guys, I want you to practice using your conditional verbs because it's really going to matter for you. It's going to improve your English. Now let's move on to the wrap up. Today we used second conditionals with would, might, could, and we talked about the possibility and the impossibility. Thank you guys. This is Sarah Bassioni. I was with you today.